Good evening and welcome to this February 16th edition of Bermuda School Sports Talk. I'm joined by several student athletes from across the island and senior schools. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and what sport they play, their school, and school name, school, and sports that you're involved in. And we'll start with you first, Seth.
Hi, my name is Seth Hartman. I go to the Boston Institute and I play basketball and I run track.
Okay. Nasia?
My name is Isaiah Barkley. I play rugby and netball, and I go BHS.
Okay. Caleb?
Evening, my name is Caleb McDowell. I go to SOTUS and I play football.
Okay. Keisha? You gotta unmute your mic.
Hi, my name is Keisha Parsons, and I go to SOTUS, and I run track and field.
My name is Yende Bean. I go to Berkeley Institute, and I run track and field.
Okay, I'm gonna start with you, being that you're up on the screen. Why track and field? Why did you pick track and field?
Well, I always been into track and running. I used to play soccer with the national squad, but I found the interest into track and field more, so I just fell in love with track and field.
What are some of the things that you like doing, and what's your favorite, or what are you good at?
I run long distance. My favorite is 1500, 800, and well, at Berkeley I used to run 3000.
Oh, okay, all right, cool. Zakesha, you play many sports. Which one do you like the most?
I like track and field. I like it a lot. I played volleyball for my school for a while, and I think volleyball is the most fun for me because it's not as serious because it's just for my school. So yeah.
What you just missed out on that Carifta standard over the weekend. Where do you think you went wrong in that particular race?
I would say my start wasn't as efficient as it could have been. I didn't really drive as much as I could have, and since it was the first one, I'm hoping I can do better soon.
Okay, all right, cool. Caleb, you say you play football. You're in the national setup as well. What position do you play, and why that particular position?
I primarily play defensive mid. I also play fullback. Right now, my club team have been playing center mid most times, and I think it's just a lot of fun. I enjoy the hustle in there, a lot of work, a lot of running around, winning the ball, making those passes, and always involved to play.
Okay, all right. And Ms. Barkley, you were playing a lot of netball. Now you're playing a lot of rugby. Give us a sense of what's the difference between the two sports, because one could be, well, both of them are kind of challenging.
Well, both are like contact in a sense, but one is more physical than the other. And the change was good, and it allowed me to become stronger when playing netball, as well as build up confidence and not be afraid of people coming at me when they do come at me.
Okay. And Seth, with basketball, obviously, you're a youngster in the sport, but you have some years under your belt. What do you like most about basketball?
I like the aspect.
Go ahead.
I noticed that over the years, being that I'm from Bermuda, we're always the underdog, and I feel like I thrive when I have that underdog mentality, and I felt like I got that the most when I was playing basketball. So going away playing a national squad or coming playing men's league, like at my age or younger, it was just like something that was really pushing me, and I fell in love with it.
Mm. I'm going to ask you all, how has the um, pandemic affected you both mentally and physically, not being able to do your sport, be as active as you wanted to be for this long period of time? And I'll start with you, Seth, being that we finish with you.
Um, it was kind of difficult at first because I was trying my best not to be like lazy, being that that was an indoor sport and the weather was like it's not really on our side all the time. So sometimes I just have to work with what I have. So maybe it's like dribbling in my garage or trying to be like always working on my craft and just not trying to be lazy. So I thought that the pandemic was very difficult in terms of that.
Mm. Okay, all right. Sparky?
Um, it took a real big toll on me because like everything that I done basically like revolved around sports. Like my whole afternoon schedule was filled with like sports and like team activities. So like COVID making it to where we couldn't do stuff in groups really brought me down to a low state mentally and physically. I was getting unfit, and because I found it hard to work, like motivate myself to work out by myself because I'm usually in a group.
Mm. Okay, all right, fair enough. And Caleb?
I s- at the beginning, I found it quite challenging. I think it was definitely a bit awkward playing football. I was always training for team, working for team, work with other people. So at the beginning, I was by myself, couldn't really go out very much, and found it quite difficult to really see what I can do around the house. But eventually, I think I managed to get that motivation, trying to do some workouts in my house, bit of technical fitness, and then from there just progressed. And now we're back to our regular training sessions.
Okay. And Ms. Parsons?
I was okay with the whole like training by myself because it's track, so it's really like most times you train by yourself or you train with one other person. But for me, the most challenging part was be like training and not having anything to like train for. So since Carifta was canceled, all our trips are canceled. You're just training and like you're not running, you're not racing, so you don't see your progression. So it's just like it's hard to know that you're even making a difference at training. So it was like really demotivating.
Mm. And Ms. Bean?
COVID has did a huge effect on me because physically, obviously during lockdown and curfew, I haven't been training for football, and I just felt like I got very unfit from that, and I wasn't really, how can I say, I wasn't really into getting up and just working out by myself. So that's, yeah. And, mentally, it made me think why. Okay, mentally, I felt like since I was getting unfit, I felt like I don't really need to play sports like that, and that's how I quit football and started to go into track. Because after the whole pandemic, well, it's still happening. After when we just started getting off a lockdown and curfew, um, I started to watch track videos and I started to get more into track, and that's how I started to be in track.
Mm. Okay. All right. Now, Seth, what ambitions do you have once you finish Berkeley and looking to get to the next stage, whether it be university, college, whatever?
Looking to play college basketball. That's something that's like a really big goal in me, for me. That's something like I've always wanted to do. But being that it's COVID and it's very difficult, a lot of teams aren't playing, and but that is like one of the main goals of mine. Playing for the national squad for Bermuda. That's another thing I want to do. and represent my country and city band, and being a big part of Bermuda basketball and like expanding the sport. So maybe not professional goals, aspirations are like the target. I want to make sure that other people have a chance or have more experience and can improve to play at higher levels. So that's just how I want to impact.
Okay. All right. All right. And Ms. Barkley, what are your ambitions for university and college after high school or senior school?
I wish to play rugby at a Division II university in the West Coast,
Mm.
and hopefully, with my education, I can become a cardiac rehabilitation physician and help others in need.
Wow. Okay. That's your ambition for your professional career. Okay. Why the West Coast for rugby?
Um, it's the best school, one of the best schools I've looked at so far, even though it's the farthest. It's the best and has the best program at the moment.
Okay, so you're looking at that school more for the professional side of what you want to do, but it also has a rugby component.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, good luck with that. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Caleb?
Definitely looking to go to a university D1, D2, try and continue playing that high level of football while getting my degree. I also have aspirations of playing professionally for football, but obviously that don't know how it's going to work out, and I won't always be playing forever, so I still need to go to university and need to get my education. And then there's also playing for the national team, which is a goal that I have as well.
Okay. All right. And Parson?
I'm looking to go away and run track in university. I'm in the recruitment process right now and stuff, and get my education. And I'm looking to represent Bermuda definitely. Not sure about professional, like run it professionally, but definitely if that's the path that I'm on, then I'm gonna want to pursue that.
Okay. And it's B.
When I'm going to university, I'm planning on running for like cross country for the school, but I am not trying to do professionally. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah. No, you answered the question about the physical part of education. What about the academic part of education for you? How has the pandemic affected you and possibly your grades?
Truthfully, the pandemic has not affected me academically. I still strive in academics, still study, do everything I can to do very good in academics.
No, good. Okay. All right. What about you, Circasia?
It was kind of rough at first for me, like just adjusting to the online school because I much prefer being in person. But my grades have like gone up and stayed up, even when we were in lockdown, and now that we're back in school, they're doing good as well. But I definitely prefer being in person.
Mm, okay. And for you, Caleb?
Yeah, I would say that I feel that I'm pretty interactive when I'm in classes. So at the beginning, I found it quite difficult being online, but as we progress, I feel like it got a bit easier, got a bit more used to it, and managed to keep my grades up and still learn what I needed to.
Okay. Sparkman?
I felt as if when I was online, I was getting distracted a lot, and I prefer in person a lot more. And my grades throughout the period we were online, they went down because I was taking GCSEs at the time, and that was just a mess. But now they're up and they're staying up.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And for you, Seth?
I pretty much agree with everybody. My grades pretty much stayed up, but I feel like with the classes that I took, it wasn't so much better being like in person and interacting with teachers. I feel like I just don't get enough exposure when I'm online.
Mm, mm. Let me ask now, what kind of drives you personally to be better at sports, at school, just a well-rounded person? What drives you the most? And I'll start with you, Ms. Barkley.
What drives me the most is seeing like how hard my teammates work because I work with team sports a lot. So like see how hard my teammates work, and I will work hard just to meet how hard they're working. So like it's always a fair balance, and it just makes me happy.
Good stuff. And what about you, Caleb?
On the educational side, I feel like it's always just been a push from my friends and family and school. It's always been a big push to keep those grades nice and get those higher scores. So I feel like it's just always been like a second nature. But in terms of sports, I feel like I'm just a pretty competitive person and I just enjoy playing football. So I'm just gonna keep going and try and be the best I can be at it.
Mm. What about you, Sakeji?
I would say I'm a pretty competitive person. So like I have a lot of internal drive and even like I'm like pretty hard on myself. So when other people be like, "Oh no, it's good," I'm like, "No, like it could be better." But also really driven by my family and like because they just support me so much, and I feel like God do great for them.
All right. And Ms. Bean?
What drives me the most is the support from my family. They push me and they make sure that I'm doing what I love.
Okay. And for you, Seth?
Just like the kids and the end, it has to be my family. Like I'm the youngest on both sides. I got like 10 cousins. So I just wanted to always prove that I was like I can keep up with them, and on top of that, like I'm a perfectionist and I'm crazy competitive. So I just always wanted to be the best at everything I did.
Do you find you have big shoes to fill because of you saying you being the youngest and the fact that um, you have other brothers who are doing well in sports?
Kind of, sorta. I feel like they support me no matter how good or bad I do. Like my family is very supportive in that way. But I do feel kind of pressure because they're doing such great things. Like my brother's playing D1 in Evansville, and it's just it could be hard sometimes. So I put a lot of pressure on myself sometimes just to live up to their expectations.
Okay, all right. Um, when we look at what we can improve on, not what the coaches say, because sometimes you have to be your biggest critic. And if you were your biggest critic, what would be the one thing you could constantly work on? And I'll start with you, Caleb.
In terms of playing for me, as I said, I'm quite competitive. I feel like get quite invested in times, possibly over invested. So been reminded by a couple of people, and I think something that I've been working on, I think I've improved on, is just trying to keep my head. And definitely as a captain for a couple of my teams, I think I've improved on it, and it's just helped me to be a better leader for my team.
Mm, okay. And for you, Sakeja?
I would say like not being so afraid to like reach further and like I kind of defeat myself sometimes before a race. So definitely like mentally just be like, okay, don't take yourself out the race before it starts and like just, like know that you have this and if you don't, then you need to know that you need to work on it.
Okay.
What I can improve is physically. I feel like I should improve my physical appearance, my being able to get fitter, because I feel like it affects me in track, and I just yeah.
Okay. And Seth?
I feel like because I'm such a perfectionist, like it has to be a little bit of everything. Like I'm never like satisfied with my performances. like I'll get a win and I'll just have to nitpick on every single thing that I did wrong. But I don't think it's one specific thing I could improve on.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Barker?
I would say like physical fitness as well. Like I'm not as physically fit as I would, so I want to get back to that because it affects me training wise and for the sports that I play. I really need to be physically fit, and as well as not letting some things people say get to me as well because that happens a lot.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah. Uh, hang in there. What would you say has been the best words of advice from a teacher regarding um, in class suggestions that you've received, and then we'll go back to the best advice you've had from sports. But first, we want to talk about school work. What's the best advice you've had from a teacher, Zakiya?
I constantly, I'm just getting, don't procrastinate, and I continue to procrastinate, but it's seeping in slowly that I need to stop procrastinating.
How long has that been?
Um, since like middle school, probably. It's been a while, but I feel like I'm getting there. I'm slowly improving and not waiting to the last minute most times to do stuff.
Okay, all right. And Ms. Bean?
The best advice the teacher gave me was, um, you have to fail in some things to do better in others.
Okay. And you take that to heart each day?
Well, see, when I do, if I fail a test, obviously I'm gonna be stressed. Like, whoa, like I really failed this test. But I do understand where that teacher's coming from because not everyone is perfect,
Mhm.
and you do fail in some things.
Okay, all right. Well said. Seth?
Um, I guess that there's always like a tip or a trick that can help you. Because I noticed in school, like I try to work smart, not hard. So I guess the best advice was that there's always a trick to everything, so that you make things easier for yourself.
Okay, all right. Ms. Barker?
Mine was um don't doubt yourself because I doubt myself a lot and like I'm right in a sense, but I just need to be able to willingly get it wrong.
Mm, okay, all right. And Caleb?
Something I've constantly be reminded of is to use your resources around you. I feel like SOTS is definitely got an environment where teachers really want to see you do well, and I feel like a lot of students don't really take advantage of that. So just always being able to ask for help and even just asking your peers for help, just asking for their opinions. And I think it's always to get that extra input on whatever you're doing. And whether you take it on or just ignore it completely, having that outside view is just always good to really affect how you're doing.
Mm. Now, Ms. Bean, what's been the best advice from a sports standpoint that you've received?
The best advice would be, um, don't doubt yourself. Because when I used to play soccer, I used to like doubt myself, like, oh, I made the wrong pass. Oh, I did that. But I started to get more confidence in myself. So I feel like that was the best advice.
Mm, okay, all right. And Seth?
I guess for me would be don't be too hard on myself. I know, like I always be getting down on myself, like I said. So I feel like I have to learn how to take a game or a loss or a win even, and just move on and go to the next game.
Okay. Ms. Barker?
For me, it was don't let what other people do like influence you on whether you should play that sport or not, because that
Mhm.
happened to me a lot. To where like I just wanted to drop out of a sport completely because of something someone had done to me.
Okay. All right. And Caleb?
Something one of my coaches always remind me of is that practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect. So always working as hard as I can and pushing the rest of my team to work as hard as we can and really be as clinical as possible so that we can be as good as we need to be to do what we need to do.
Mm, okay. And Keisha?
Something I think my mom's like always told me is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So that's always just in my mind, like training and stuff. Like you got to put in the work because you might have talent, but if you don't put in the work, it's not gonna be used for anything.
Mm, so true. So true. If you could play any other sport than the one that you play now, or the few that you play now, what would that sport be? And we'll start with you, Seth.
Um, I guess football. Like I always had love for football, but I wasn't very good. So yeah, I guess football would be my option.
And why football? Because of your
I guess
love
it's just
for it.
more fun. Yeah, I just really enjoy the sport.
Plus, the basketball court is shorter, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Ms. Berkeley?
My other sport that I would play would definitely be an equestrian. Um, I would definitely love to get back into that.
What was your highlight of that? Was that the jumping or the dressage?
Show jumping,
Oh, could be pretty scary at times, can it?
yeah.
All right. And Caleb?
I would have to say badminton probably. Been playing at Soltis for a couple years, playing with my dad every once in a while. And I think just a good competitive, like intense game of badminton is just really fun. I think I could get into it if I wanted to.
Mm, okay. All right. And Keisha?
I know a lot of people like say it's not a sport, but dance. I was like I started dancing when I was 3, and then I stopped at like 16 because I wanted to focus more on track. But I would definitely become a professional dancer or a competitive dancer.
Oh, okay. All right. And Ms. Dean?
I would love to play tennis. I just feel like for me playing with my parents and my other family members, it's just a fun sport to play and very competitive.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you guys about technical parts of your sport that you guys need to kind of well, your coaches want you to work on more technical. So for the sake of basketball, obviously, Seth, where technically do you need to improve, and what is your coach helping you with to improve it?
Um, for me, it's mostly like my jump shot. My jump shot has been a problem with me for years, but I feel I never had to really use it because I was always like kind of taller than everybody. But my jump shot, I have to say, and my ball handling, I have to improve on.
Mm. Now, I've seen you play quite a few times. Are you there are times that I've seen you play. You seem to be going or thinking a lot faster than what you're doing, and kind of not taking what you consider that jump shot. Is that more confidence than anything else that you feel as if I don't have it, so let me pass it off?
Yeah, I agree. I think it is my confidence, and I feel like I will gain more confidence as I do it more, as I practice it more. So once I practice it more, I get more confidence in my jump shot, and then I give it up and I start shooting more in games. Shots start falling, and then just from there.
Good, good, good. And Ms. Barkley, for you, obviously for your sport, let's go with rugby first. what the technical parts that you need to improve on?
Tackling wise and like going into contact, how to land better to where I don't come up with like bruises or like anything like broken in a sense.
Now, because you got into it kind of later on, and well, when you got in, it was touch. They started tackle. How difficult is it to go from touch to tackle in your mind?
I actually liked tackle more in the sense because like it always kept you like aware of like your surroundings and like the I the difference between touch and tackle, it was a lot easier to grasp tackle rules than it was to grasp touch rules, as there's a lot more like like weird touch rules in there that
Mhm.
abide by.
What about for netball, technically?
For netball, like as in like
Technical parts of it.
I would say agility and shooting.
Okay. I think you're a good shooter. You doubt yourself in shooting?
Um, there's always areas to improve in a sense.
Yeah.
I like the mid range shot, but my coaches always want me to come closer to the pole.
Mhm.
I feel like I miss more if I go closer, which is really not supposed to happen, but it does.
Your arc is a little different, so the closer you are, the harder it is for you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. No problem. Understood. And Caleb?
I would say that something I need to work on is just my composure on the ball at times. I feel like sometimes I just get ahead of myself or I'm working, I end up winning the ball and then making a bad pass. I just need to settle myself, really pick out the right pass and know when to dribble and where to dribble and when to shoot.
Okay. Now, you say you play more of a center midfield position. So are you more the defensive side or are you more of the attacking side of that center? Because at times you could be.
Um, it really depends on who I'm playing with or just the moment in the game, but I would say it applies going both ways. Defensively, the composure really comes into play when making those tackles and have to distribute the ball. Then attacking, same thing with the passing, and then just getting into those areas and just doing it at the right times, doing it properly.
Okay. All right. And for you, Zakeda?
I would say, oh, I have to sneeze. Okay, I would say the start of my race, so like getting out the blocks and my drive phase, and I need to be more efficient in my driving and really more focus more on power rather than trying to sprint out the blocks.
Mm. Now, when you are getting ready for a race, you have those moments where you actually warm up with the sprint, with the starts and so forth. How much talking with the coach goes on in between when you first start doing that and then the actual race, or are you trying to figure it out on your own?
I would say normally, like I kind of like a medium amount of feedback. Like I don't really like to be poured with a lot of information, especially like right before I run. So I like my coach will give me advice on like a few of them, and then let me do it, and then give more advice. But I prefer to like if I know like most times I know where I need to improve, and then if my coach is there to just help me out like that. So like I usually do about like 6 or 7 kind of block starts before I will run.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Bean?
I would say my endurance in track because like I said, I run long distance. So from when COVID started, lockdown and everything, I haven't been as active and I did get very unfit. So I would say my endurance.
Okay. All right. And what have you started to do, or what have you talked over with your coaches to figure out how you can gradually get back to where you were over a period of time?
Well, as of right now, I do spinning classes on Mondays every week, but my knee is having problems right now, so I haven't really been on the track like that lately. So yeah.
All right. Cool. Cool. Um, Obviously, when you guys have ambitions of going away to school, furthering your education with using sports. We heard from Ms. Barkley who said she wants to go to the West Coast, but um, going abroad to school is a new challenge. You're independent. You've got a lot more responsibility because of that college life. And if you are a student athlete, you have to balance all that out. How do you think how do you think you have managed it here that if and when you go away, you can actually manage it on your own? And we'll start with you, Ms. Barkley.
I managing wise, I just have to not procrastinate when it comes to my studies, because like I'll put it off a lot and be like, okay, I'll just go play rugby or play netball, go dance, and like I just put it off a lot. So I will take the time out and like do it, even though I don't want to. I have to, because like if I don't, then I won't pass.
Are you one that has to have somebody behind you pushing you, or are you self-motivated?
Um, Most of the time, it's someone behind me pushing me, like my mother. My mother's always pushing me. She's always there for me. She's always helping me, and so like I will like miss her in a sense when I go off, because I won't have her there to like keep pushing me and motivating me. So like I have to learn how to motivate myself and keep going on my own.
Okay. All right. Well, the good thing for that is at least you acknowledge it, and then that's the start of actually working towards it. Caleb?
I feel like for the past couple of years, I've had a pretty packed schedule in terms of schoolwork and training. So I've been able to manage that quite well. Obviously, things would be different at the university level, but I think that with like taking courses that I'm really interested in, like I won't find it that difficult to find the motivation to want to do my work. Right now in school, there are some classes that don't really pique my interest as much as others, so I'm not always that interested in doing my work and I don't always have that motivation, but I'm still able to. So with a class that I do really find interest in, that I'm good at, I think we just need to really get better at my work. And then obviously we'll be playing football, which I enjoy, so that'll be no problem to keep training.
Cool. Good stuff. Zakiya?
I find that like I said, like I've been like my schedule's been pretty packed for a long time. So I actually find that I'm least productive when it's like a school break and I don't have a lot to do. So I find like when I have multiple training sessions and then I come home and I'm able to actually focus on my homework and like get it done because I don't have a lot of free time. Because then when I have too much free time, I get distracted on like my phone and stuff. I think the part I'm most gonna struggle in is just like studying, because I'll come home, I'll do my homework and get all that done, but I wouldn't necessarily maybe study for a class as much as I should.
Okay. All right. Ms. Beanie?
I believe that procrastination would be the problem that I would need to manage when I'm away, because I will be studying medicine, so and I will be having a lot of work. So I feel like me procrastinating is not gonna help me to strive in academics and also in sports, because let's say if I'm stressed from all the work that I'm getting, because I am studying a hard subject, um I feel like I won't be I would say I would be lazy of getting up to go play sports.
Okay, all right. And Seth?
I think the biggest thing for me would be like time management, making sure I do the right things at the right time. Not like wasting time doing things that could be like saved for later. I think that's probably the most important thing that I have to work on before I go to college.
Okay, all right. Um, Let me ask this question next. Being that you guys are in senior school now, you're looking at the end of this road, what advice would you have for a P1U back when you were in P1? What advice would you have for yourself now, giving back to that when you walked into that P1 class several years ago, of what you could do better to start out to get you to where you are and probably even further ahead? And we'll start with you, Sakisha.
I would tell my P1 self to definitely start learning how to study young. Like, just because like school might be easy for you now, don't take that for granted. So definitely start some sort of study regime and just embrace it and have a good time.
Okay, all right. Has been
Um, I would tell my P1 self, just do what you love and just strive for greatness.
okay. All right. Nice start. Seth?
Um, I would tell my P1 self to try to be more humble and be like have more fun, like loosen up. Don't be so to the book all the time. Like do what you have to do and hand in your grades, put in the work, like train as much as you can, but like loosen up and still have fun.
Nice. Okay. Working?
I will tell my P1 self to ask for help more, as well as not to let other people influence you on what you love.
Okay. Cool. Some good advice. Caleb?
I would try to encourage my younger self to really always work hard and just focus on yourself, not always get caught up in a lot of the outside people. Because I feel like a lot of times I've gotten distracted by comparing myself to other people or trying to be like other people. And I feel like it's really distracting me from what I'm trying to do and what I can do. So just cracking down on that, focusing on what I'm trying to do and just working hard to get there.
Hmm. Who would you say has been a big influence in your sporting career, Miss Bean?
Hmm. Um, I would say my mama. She been a big influence on my sports career because she just pushes me. She supports me in whatever I choose. Like me quitting football and going to track, she supported me. So I feel like she will be my bigger influence.
What was that conversation like, though? That you want
She
to quit
was
football?
she was a little iffy on me changing into track because she felt like also like I won't be me quitting football and COVID happening that I won't be so active in track.
Mhm.
But she came around and she was like, "Yo, this is what you love, then there you go."
Okay, all right. Well done, Mom. And Zach?
For me, it's definitely my brothers. I feel like if they weren't with me, I probably wouldn't play sports at all because I always want to compete with them, and that's what inspired me to play sports in the first place. So yeah, it had to be them.
Okay, cool. Partner?
Mine's just my mother. For the simple fact is, like, when I done equestrian and all that, she used to wake up at like 5 a.m. just to take me and like always supporting me, is always at every single game that she can get to, she'll get to. If not, then another family member comes and like yeah, it's just
Okay. All right. Good mom. Kayla?
For myself, I'll say be Mr. Newsom, the PE teacher at Sotis now. When I first met him, he was coaching me at the under 15 National Academy, I think, when I was in middle school. And he's coached me in schools, my teacher now, coached me outside school. And I think that he's just always brought a good outside perspective of playing at the high level and just really showing me how I can get to my aspirations. And he's always been alongside me to push me along and give me advice to try and get there.
Okay. All right. And Kayla.
I would say my mom because like she's just always been there. Like she put me in my first race at 4, and then like we have a lot of conversations when I'm like doubting myself and I'm like, okay, I don't really want to do this anymore. And she's like, well, you gotta put 100% in before you try and like to see like how far you can take it. And she's just always there, and like all my meets and stuff that she can make it to. And my nana because she's just like catches the bus to every single sport I do, if it's netball, volleyball, like any and everything, and she's just there to cheer me on.
All right.
I would like to add to my point. I
Sure.
also feel like my old soccer coach, Coach Kita, she has been a big influence on me. Even since when I quit and stopped playing track, she always supported me and she still supports me to this day.
You, Kayla. All right. Now the question is, how are you after a defeat? Do you like your coach coming talking to you, somebody from your family come and talk to you, or you just want to be left alone? I know some of you play team sports, but it's also affecting you as an individual as well. So when you have a tough day at the office and you haven't won, um, how does that affect you? And how do you like to be handled after a loss? And we'll start with you, Miss Barkley.
um, it depends on what type of game it was. In a sense, like if the finals that we lost, like would be heartbroken in a sense. Like I wouldn't hang it over my shoulder because it's like it's the experience that we went through and we had to go through it, and it is what it is. It happened for a reason in a sense. So
All
that
right.
we come back and better ourselves.
Okay. I'm gonna go the opposite way, so I'm gonna go Seth.
Usually when I lose, I would get like really upset with myself and be down on myself, and then my brothers would just come and make fun of me because of it, and they'll help like cheer me up and help me realize that like it's not the end of the world and move on to the next game. So now I take that mentality with me now that they're not with me anymore, like they're away, and I just like to analyze, see what I did wrong, and try to improve for the next time.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Caleb.
I would say it could kind of go two ways, just depending. So like if it's a game and I know that I didn't really do my best to really put in the best effort that I could, I feel like I would just try and keep to myself and just try and wrap my head around everything and what I could have done and what went wrong. But sometimes on the other side of things, I can have a game and we can still lose. And I feel like in that case, I try to really like look around at what went wrong. So like I can realize that okay, maybe one of my teammates really didn't have the best game. So I would try and talk to them because I know that when I'm in the opposite situation, it's just not always the best thing. So just trying to encourage other people and trying to push them on so that next time we come out, we can try and get the result we're looking for.
Cool. All right. So Caleb.
When I like, well, I classify for me a loss is like if I'm not running the time that I wanted to run. So like no matter if I come first or second, whatever, like if it's not a time or a distance, like in jumping a distance that I know I'm capable of, then like I get really down on myself kind of, and I like to, I would say more like be left alone to like think about what's happening, and then I also just really like to go back at it again and improve.
Okay. All right. And
I would say if I knew I could have came first in a race, I would be kind of upset with myself because I knew I could have pushed even harder to win the race. But I also would be like, next time I would do my best. Well, do better.
okay. All right. What would be a personal workout for you outside of your regiment, doing it with your teammates or yeah, your coaches? What kind of things do you do as a training on your own, Miss Bean?
You mean like without like the coaches and stuff, but
Yeah,
just
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, my sister's a personal trainer, so I work out with her twice a week.
Okay.
So I train with her, and then yeah, that's
Does she
basically.
ease
And
you up
or
because you're her sister?
pardon?
Does she ease you up because you're her sister?
No, she don't. Also, if I'm feeling up to it, and if my knee is I will go on little runs or jogs.
Okay. All right. Cool. It's occasion.
I would usually just do like some ab stuff at home, like with my mom, like with a workout with her, just doing a little workout. And like as far as like with my coach, we have stuff, but then also at Soltis, we have a program, the Soltis Elite Athlete Program. So like when we have PE, we're actually doing extra like workouts where we're in the gym, we're using these sleds, we're doing plyometrics and stuff. So that's like an added workout to my training schedule.
Okay. All right. Caleb?
Let's say for myself, beforehand, I was going to the gym quite regularly with my dad and my uncle, and I think that was good just to try and build the strength that I needed to really add to my game to improve. As Acacia mentioned, SOTUS has the Elite Athlete Program, so I've kind of replaced the sessions. So I've been training Mr. Lewis about twice a week, and every once in a while, depending on what time the session finish, I try to do a bit of extra running myself just to try and get my fitness up and keep everything going.
Okay. All right. Berkeley?
So what I do when I have free time when I'm not doing like any other thing, I will play Just Dance for like 2 hours straight and just like basically have fun with that and just go all out.
Okay. First time I heard of that. What is Just Dance?
It's basically a video game where like you have to copy dance moves to dances and like it has like difficulty, so it has easy, medium, hard, and extreme. So
Mhm.
I usually dance to medium, hard, and extreme when I play, as because it allows like a lot more movement and like it gives the sense of that I'm like working out even more, even though it really doesn't feel like a long time that I'm playing because I get so immersed in the game.
Oh, okay. All right. And Seth?
It pretty much depends for me. Because I have trash media too. So I'll probably do plyometrics in my house or jumping workouts, going to the gym, doing like circuits. And when I'm playing football, I'll be doing dribbling workouts in my garage or shooting and finishing over at Shelly Bay's court. So different stuff like that.
All right. All right. Well, folks, I do want to thank you very much for your time. Good luck in your endeavors for education, for sports. We look forward to your successes, not just at the national level, but personally. We like to see young people do well for themselves and their family. So remember, it's education first and then sports. I know some of you might think the other way, but if your parents are looking at you right now, they're agreeing with me. So I'm not concerned about that. So thank you very much. I will try and stay in touch with you to see how you're progressing, and all the best for the remainder of this school year and your future years in college, university, and in life. Okay? Enjoy your evening.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.